In this video, we're going to be replacing the radiator fill neck, which the thermostat also goes into, due to a leak that a 2001 PT Cruiser has had for quite some time, and I haven't been able to track it down. So, you know, you can smell that antifreeze sometimes, or when you open up the hood and you look around the area of the radiator and the hoses, you can see some antifreeze. So there's definitely a leak, but you can't track down where. And I think I finally, after many times of trying to just tighten down the radiator fill neck or swap out the radiator cap, finally tracked it down to the rubber seal, the gasket that's for the thermostat. And that's right here. You'll see me discover that in the video too, but basically this one has become so worn over time and kind of flattened in to the radiator fill neck that it's not creating a good seal around the thermostat, and antifreeze is leaking out between that and then the thermostat housing. You can see this one here. This is off of a turbo model, but it's the same idea. So there's the full radiator fill neck, and here you can see it bolts on to the thermostat housing down here, and then over here you can see it, that's that long sideways section here that the radiator hose clamps to. So we'll be taking that out and fixing that. Okay, quick note about draining the radiator. At the bottom of the radiator there's like a little drain plug that I usually use a pair of pliers just to crack it free and then loosen it some so that the radiator fluid drains out the bottom. This is that little plug that the plug I'm talking about, and I'll grab it with a set of pliers and twist it lefty loosey righty tighty. When you loosen this, on the bottom of it you'll see that little drain pipe, and on this model, this is a turbo model, the green machine, it looks like it's meant to drain right down to here. Kind of the antifreeze will pool on this lip. It's a good idea to have a bucket. I'll put a bucket underneath to catch all this fluid. When you are draining, it's a good idea to take the radiator cap off of the fill neck. That releases pressure or allows, you know, the flow to increase, because you're not in a suction in a vacuum inside that radiator, and the radiator fluid can just flow more freely. So this has probably been leaking because this gasket right here on the thermostat is totally flat. Normally it's supposed to stick out just a bit, as it does on this new one. You'll see that little, the ridge, because the gasket is nice, new, squishy on this new one. This one again, it's flat. So that's why it's not sealing, that's why it's leaking. So let's just get this new one on, and that will be the end of the leak. Cross my fingers. Oh wait, before I put it on there, let's just make sure that surface is as smooth as it can be. We'll get a razor blade and clean that up. This applies to any time really that you're filling the fluid. This is bleeding the the radiator fluid in the engine. It's not the same as flushing, where you're running usually water to flush that system out. This is bleeding, where you're trying to get the air out of the system when you're refilling it. You know, you want to kit something like this. I got this one on Amazon some time ago, and inside of it here, it's got a number of different fittings. I was just going to show you what I do to bleed the radiator system when you're filling it up. This will help. Why do you do the bleeding? To prevent overheating, because if there's air trapped inside, it doesn't flow right, it doesn't cool right, and it'll cause the engine to overheat. So you want to bleed it to get all the air out of the system, so you just have that radiator fluid flowing nice and free. Good grief. I'm going to pour this out and find the right fittings that fit this particular radiator fill neck. It gives you a bunch of different options depending on the size of your radiator cap and fill neck. So this is the one. It fits in there, and you have the rubber seal on the bottom side of it to try and actually, you know what? This is not the right one. It's actually landing on the plastic lip. Let's see what we got. That one actually feels a little better. So the kit comes with kind of this little phony radiator cap, and that's supposed to apply pressure and squish this down so that you're not going to have radiator fluid coming up around this thing as you're filling it or as it's heating up. Let me see if I can get it to seal right. You know, I think mine might be worn out over time. I might need to like bend this and make it tighter, but you'll get the idea. So once you've found your adapter, you've got it sealed on there with the cap. Then you use the tub, the fill tub. So what I'll do is put a starting amount in the radiator. Usually I'll fill it up with this bleeder set up off, just till you see the radiator fluid kind of at the top, come up to the top of the radiator fill neck. Then I'll put this system on. I'll have the car running while I do this and heating up. The idea is you're gonna start it. It's gonna get to the operating temperature, full operating temperature. I'll run it 15, 20, maybe even 30 minutes to really make sure the system is bled well. And what'll happen is as it heats up and your thermostat opens up and the radiator fluid starts to flow, the level that you filled it up to at the top of the fill neck is going to go down. Like, it'll suck it down into the system and into the motor and start doing its thing, but the radiator's not full. So that's when I'll put this on. I'll fill it up with fluid to about here, and you just let it keep running, and what you'll notice is that that level may lower and rise as the motor runs and as the temperature gets really hot. And what you also see is the bubbles, the PT bubbles, start coming up out of the system, so that it's like it's pushing the air out of the radiator fluid and out of the system. And that's why that's what this kit does, is it lets the air escape, because you don't have your radiator cap on, blocking that from happening. Once you're all done and it's running happy and your temperature looks good on your temp gauge, what it normally should be. One other thing, if you end up with some excess antifreeze in there, and you of course don't want to waste it or spill it on the ground, you want to get it over here to your radiator overfill tank, right? And for that you need a turkey baster. To transfer the antifreeze, if there's too much in that tub, to the radiator overfill, what works really well is just a regular old turkey baster. This lets you put it into the tub, suck out the extra antifreeze, and then just squirt it right there into the radiator overfill. Or if your radiator overfill is full, you can just squirt it back into your radiator container. And that's bleeding the radiator system. Alright, thank you very much for watching this quick video on replacing the thermostat, the gasket in there, and the radiator fill neck. Good luck on all of your endeavors. Thanks for watching.